Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us today. This webinar will cover information on student employment at the University of Miami. My name is Susie Picard. I'm an Associate Director for the Office of Student Financial Assistance and Employment, and I'm joined by Connie Diaz, Office Supervisor.
Good afternoon, everybody.
We are also joined by Grisel Valdez, Director of Student Employment, who will be monitoring the chat room to answer your questions throughout today's webinar. In order to facilitate a consistent experience for all users, please do not use the raise hand feature, but instead go to the chat room on the right of your screen to ask any questions. Before we begin, I would like to advise you to please refrain from asking personal questions about your financial aid. Grisel will address questions pertaining to student employment, but personal questions about your individual financial aid record and award should be addressed to our office email or by calling or visiting our office. Emails can be sent to osc@miami.edu. We will provide more detailed information on how to contact our office at the conclusion of this webinar. So let's get started. In today's webinar, we will discuss the following: benefits of working, work programs available, types of jobs available, how to find a job, and the hiring process. We are aware that most students work because they need a source of extra income. And while working while attending college will certainly provide you with the extra earning income to assist with college expenses, I want you to be aware of the additional benefits of working as a student employee. Whether you are working for the first time or have prior work experience, working while attending college will help you develop transferable skills you can use in any job. Not only will you gain valuable work experience, but working as a student employee will assist you with your personal and professional development. Many students who work also improve their time management and organizational skills because students who work have to learn how to balance different priorities. I know that many of you are wondering whether you will be able to manage a job with a challenging course load, but I can assure you it is doable. In fact, studies show that students who work up to 30 hours a week do just as well or even better academically than those who don't. Working only 12 to 15 hours a week, as most students do, shouldn't affect your grade. For many students, one of the greatest benefits of working is feeling a part of the university community. As a student employee, you'll become better acquainted with faculty, staff, and other students. Also, you might want to keep in mind that a professor can attest to your academic aptitude, but an employer can provide letters of references that attest to your work ethic and skills. So hopefully I've done a good job of convincing you of why you should work. Now let's discuss how you can begin to work. So before you can begin to search for jobs, you need to know which programs you are eligible for. There are two main employment programs for undergraduate students at UM. The first program is the Federal Work Study Program. The Federal Work Study Program is a federally funded financial aid program awarded to students based on their eligibility determined by the free application for federal student aid, or as it is most commonly known, the FAFSA. So with Federal Work Study, students are awarded a specific amount and the federal government subsidizes the wages to the employer. You have to work to earn these funds. So if you receive Federal Work Study as part of your financial aid award, you probably were awarded a set amount for fall and spring semesters. Now, what's important to keep in mind is that you do not exceed the total amount of funds you've been awarded for the academic year. For instance, let's say you were awarded $3,000 for the academic year, $1,500 for fall, and $1,500 for spring. You may earn $1,600 in the fall and $1,400 in the spring semester. Again, what is important is that you do not exceed the total amount you have been provided for the academic year. I know many of you ask, okay, so give me an idea of Federal Work Study jobs. What kind of jobs? Well, most Federal Work Study jobs are located on campus, but we do have some off-campus Federal Work Study jobs available, mostly through community service agencies. Now, the other work program that we have for undergraduate students is the Student Assistant Program. This program is available to all registered, degree admitted, and enrolled students. Students who are not eligible for federal work study are considered student assistants. Student assistant jobs are located in many of the same departments as federal work study students, and UM departments and off-campus employers pay in full for these student wages. And again, I'm going to encourage you, if you have any questions, please use the chat feature to submit your questions. Rizal will be happy to assist you with those questions. Now, both federal work study and student assistant positions offer entry-level and career-related types of jobs. As a student employee, you will be able to apply for a variety of different jobs, from working at the library to being a file clerk at a law office. But before you consider where you want to work, I think it's important to decide whether you want to work on campus or off campus. So let's talk a little bit about the differences between these two. On-campus jobs are very flexible. On-campus employers will work around your class schedule and understand that you have academic commitments. For the most part, these jobs are convenient and provide entry-level opportunities as well as more career-related opportunities depending on your skill set. In addition to the flexibility offered by an on-campus job, I think the greatest benefit of working on campus is that you get to see the inner workings of the university. From the Wellness Center to the University Help Desk to the research facilities at the Miller School of Medicine. Working with university professors, staff, and students will give you a unique perspective to UM. Some examples of on-campus jobs include being an office assistant, working in customer service, graphic design, web design, conducting data entry, tutoring, shelving books, being a restaurant server, or being a lab assistant. Now, I know as a student, you also have the option of working off campus. While an off-campus job can provide you with more hands experiences in your chosen career, off-campus jobs are more demanding in nature. This is because off-campus jobs require more of a time commitment, and most off-campus employers will not consider your academic commitments. Off-campus employers usually ask that you work at least 20 hours a week, whereas an on-campus job, usually requests that you work about 10 to 15 hours a week. Also, something to consider is that an off-campus employer may not provide you with the flexibility to work around your class schedule. But for most students, the most challenging aspect of working off campus is the time it takes to commute to and from work. And also consider that you need reliable transportation in order to get to your off-campus job. So some examples of off-campus jobs include tutoring, law file clerk, payroll assistant, customer service, and office assistant. I often advise freshmen and sophomores to work on campus, and then as juniors and seniors to work off campus so they can get more hands-on experience. But again, it's what works for you. But definitely as a freshman, I advise you don't work off campus. It's going to be a little bit stressful. So if you can stay on campus, that's my advice. Okay, so now that we've talked a little bit about the different types of jobs available, let's discuss how you can find a job. All of our jobs are posted on CaneLink under the Student Employment menu in your CaneLink homepage. So you just want to go to canelink.miami.edu, and on the screen you can see what that would look like. So if you go to the main student homepage and you scroll down, you see there's a Student Employment menu, and then jobs are listed by program type. Simply select the program that you are eligible for to view a list of available jobs. Now, Federal Work Study students can apply to both Federal Work Study and Student Assistant positions, but if you receive Federal Work Study, you should look under Federal Work Study jobs because a lot of students who are not eligible for Federal Work Study can only apply for Student Assistant positions. So, it's important that you look for jobs under your work program. And once you click on the work program, this is the screen you're going to see. You're going to see a list of available jobs. And what you're going to do is, once you find a job you're interested in, the main page will give you a rough idea of what the job entails in terms of how many hours a week, the salary, and the skills required for the job. So what you want to do is select the job you're interested in to view the job description. And then once you think you're going to be a good candidate for this position, you want to contact the employer directly to apply for the job. Now, something to keep in mind is when you contact the employer, be prepared to answer questions regarding why you are interested in the position and what skills you can offer an employer. But I don't want you to worry. Even if you do not have prior work experience, an employer who sees that you are motivated and enthusiastic about the job will likely consider you for the position. I also want you to keep in mind that it's not uncommon for an employer to want to familiarize themselves with your qualifications by researching the internet and social networking sites. For example, Facebook, Instagram, Tumblr, Twitter. So, please review what information is publicly available about you. Other factors you may want to consider before presenting yourself to an employer is the type of email and voicemail you have available. Now, I know this sounds funny, but believe it or not, I've had students who have had very interesting email addresses, such as sexyfox@aol.com, and while that may seem like a great email addresses, to an employer, it is a red flag. I also had a student that when you would call and get their voicemail message, there was a very inappropriate song with explicit lyrics. And, I think it's great that you have that song, but just keep in mind that for an employer, this will turn them away, because if an employer is looking for a professional student, they're not going to think you're very professional if they're hearing, explicit lyrics and inappropriate material. So just keep that in mind. Just remember, how you present yourself before an interview can land or cost you the job. Now, if you decide to go to Canelink after this webinar to view which jobs are currently posted, you will find jobs posted for the summer term. Most employers post jobs for the semester a few weeks before classes start, so the best time to look for a job is at the beginning of every semester. For those of you viewing this webinar who are incoming students, and I think there's a few of you, jobs will be posted for the fall semester shortly before classes start. I advise you to apply for positions before you arrive on campus so that you may have interviews lined up when you arrive on campus for orientation. I also want to mention that there will be a fall job fair during the first week of classes where on-campus employers will interview students for available fall jobs. We will provide the date of that fall job fair at the beginning of the semester. We usually send out notifications through the listserv, so not to worry. We'll post it on the Miami Hurricane, so you'll know when the job fair will take place. And I know we just got a question regarding if we are starting in the fall, we cannot apply for a job during the summer. No, you will be eligible for student employment when you become a student, and you become a student officially when you're the first day of classes. So this is why you're unable to start working in the summer if you are an incoming student. Now, I also want to mention that, like I said, all the jobs are posted on Canelink, but we're really excited to announce that our office will soon be launching a new job posting site called JobX. This new job posting system will be live in late summer and will have some great features for applying to jobs, including applying to multiple jobs with one online application. It will also include the ability to upload a resume and sign up for something called JobMail, which is a service which will enable you to be notified when a job is posted that matches your job preferences. And you will be able to access JobX by going to the Student Employment menu in Canelink, and additional information on JobX will be posted on our website, and the go live date will be announced to the university community shortly. Now, I also want to mention that in addition to viewing available positions that have been submitted to our office, there are other ways you can go about looking for a job on and off campus. For instance, you can contact a department directly and ask if they are hiring. While they might not be hiring at the time you call, they may be willing to put your resume on file in case a position does open up. You might also want to try speaking to your professors and ask them if they are in need of a student employee. Speak with your friends who are currently working. They may know of an open position and they may be able to put in a good word for you. I know many students who have found jobs this way, and it's through word of mouth. Now, if you have reliable transportation, check surrounding businesses. Many off-campus employers are willing to hire student employees. And I'm confident that by following some of the tips provided in this webinar, you will be able to find a student employment job. We wanted to share with you important information on what you can expect once you are offered a job, including important documents you need to present to be hired. So at this point, I'm going to ask Connie to take over our discussion so that she can talk a little bit about the hiring process with you. Connie?
Thank you, Susie. So now that you have found a job, your manager will initiate the hiring process. Please note that I say initiate, for you will need to complete a series of steps in order for your manager to finalize your hiring. You will need to log on to Workday and check your Workday inbox, where you will see next to your name a number. That represents the task pending to be completed by you. Before I continue, I like to explain that Workday is the system used to manage payroll at UM. Workday has a user-friendly navigation, allowing you easy access to information with simple, hassle-free tools. The initial task that you, as a future student employee, must complete in order for the hiring process to be finalized are as follows. The onboarding process. This process consists of different tasks or steps that you must complete in order to be hired. I will mention them and explain them individually. They are review documents, rehire status, enter contact information, complete federal withholding election, which is the W-4 form, add payment elections, which is the direct deposit, and complete Form I-9. You may think this is a lot, but please know that you will find in Workday instructions that will guide you through the process. Let me briefly explain what these tasks are. Review documents. This is merely an acknowledgement of having read the University of Miami Student Employment Practices and Procedure. In addition, those students working at the medical campus will need to acknowledge having read the Employee Health Requirements and the Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act, known as the HIPAA. The next task is rehire status. This is a short questionnaire that will ask you if you have worked at UM before. There are only 4 simple questions in this section. And these questions are, have you worked at UM less than a year, 1 to 5 years, more than 5 years, or none of the above? For those of you that are incoming students to UM, the most appropriate answer is none of the above. The next task that you will see in the onboarding process will be enter contact information. Please make sure that the pre-populated address is your current permanent address. The university mails out important payroll information such as the W-2 form on a yearly basis, and you will need this form in order to file your taxes. So it's important that it gets to you, to your current and proper address. Next, you will see complete federal withholding election. This is the Form W-4. This form is needed so payroll can withhold the correct federal income tax from your pay. Please consider completing a new form each year should your personal or financial situation change. If you are unsure on how to complete this form, please ask your parents or your tax advisor, for we are unable to advise students on how to complete the form. The next one is add payment election, which is the direct deposit. As you probably know, direct deposit is the electronic deposit of payments directly from the employer account, which is UM, to your bank account, whether checking or savings. Although undergraduate students are not required to sign up for direct deposit, we strongly recommend that you do so. It is most safe and is a timely way to receive your paycheck, which, by the way, students and staff will get paid every other Friday as established in the payroll schedule. One more component of the onboarding process is the complete Form I-9. The Form I-9 is a federal form used for verifying the identity and employment authorization of individuals hired for employment. All U.S. employers must ensure proper completion of the Form I-9 from each person they hire. You will need to complete the Form I-9 only once. So you come into, you start a new job come August or September, and you will be newly hired at UM. That's when you are required to complete the Form I-9. So let's say that next spring semester, you go to a different department to work. The Form I-9 will not be required because you have already completed that form, and that form is only required once. The Form I-9 consists of two sections. Section 1, which is completed by the employee, and Section 2, which is completed by a designated person in your department called the I-9 verifier. Please note, and this is very important, federal guidelines mandate that Section 1 of the Form I-9, which is the one completed by you, the student employee, must be completed the same day of hire or prior to the hire date. Section 2 of the form, which is the section that is completed by the I-9 verifier of your department, must be completed within 3 business days from the day of hire or prior. Something that is very important for students to know is that once they complete Section 1 of the form, the process is not complete. Please make sure that when you go to Workday and start completing Section 1, you will see some pre-populated information such as your name, your birthday, and your Social Security number. Please make sure that that information is correct. In the unlikely event the information is not correct, please do not proceed and let your manager know of the discrepancy. After you have checked that all the information is correct, select the citizenship status that applies best to you. Scroll down to the page and provide your electronic signature by checking I agree in the I agree box. Click Submit. Again, please note that by completing Section 1 of the Form I-9, the process is not complete. Section 2 must now be completed by your I-9 verifier. In order to do so, you must complete to your I-9 verifier original and unexpired documents that establish your identity and employment authorization. These will become your supporting documents. You will now see a list of those acceptable documents. Also, your manager or supervisor will assist you in letting you know who your I-9 verifier is for your department. I need to stress that only signed and original unexpired documents will be accepted in order to complete the form. Once Section 2 of the form is completed by your I-9 verifier, your manager will be able to complete the hiring in Workday. It would be a good idea that once Section 2 is completed, you let your manager know that the I-9 is now complete and the hiring process can be finished. In conclusion, our office works in conjunction with the University of Miami Payroll Office, who is responsible for distributing paychecks to all employees, including the university student employees.
One of the things that I want to add is that, like Connie mentioned, you're going to be paid every 2 weeks according to the payroll schedule, and you will be paid directly. So I know some students often ask me if their paycheck goes to pay their tuition or their outstanding registration bill. It does not. You basically receive a paycheck, and how you use that money is up to you. Of course, we hope you use it for educational expenses, but just know that that money goes directly to you. We hope that you found this webinar useful. We encourage you to follow us on Twitter, where more important information, including office closings, event announcements, are tweeted out. We also have a YouTube channel where we post all previous webinars hosted by our office, and this webinar will be posted on the YouTube channel within a few days. We encourage you to contact our office. We are located in the Whitten University Center, which is in the UC Suite 2275. We're available Monday through Friday, 9 to 5 on Wednesdays. Financial aid is not available until 10:30, but the Office of Student Employment or the Student Employment team will be available at 9. You can also reach us by telephone at the number listed on the screen or by email. If you have student employment related questions, you can contact us at osc@miami.edu. Or if you have financial aid related questions, you can contact us at ofas@miami.edu. Now, on behalf of Connie, Grizel, and I, we thank you for taking the time to join us today, and we look forward to your participation in the University of Miami student workforce. If you have any additional questions, feel free to put them in the chat. We'll be here for another 2 minutes, and we'll be glad to answer any questions you may have.